As most of you guys know, I am a big fan of GM stuff, but there is a piece of Mopar that I have yet to do anything with. A 71 Plymouth Satellite station wagon. I can tell you definitively, this is like a baby Suburban. I am a Suburban aficionado, in case you didn't know. This little thing here hasn't run in 26 plus years. I don't know what it was parked for. Clearly those tires are older than dirt. It's got a few cosmetic issues, but not too bad overall. Might need to fix that taillight. I have 3 hubcaps, which kind of sucks because I kind of like those hubcaps. Those look good. Now, other problem is driver's door here. It doesn't open. Passenger side door, it doesn't close. This is a 383. Now, for those non-Mopar guys, that's not a stroker. That's just a big block Mopar. It looks to be missing the alternator. A little bit of rat stuff all over. A couple of turds here and there. Well, the battery tray's rotting away, but that's not unusual. The radiator is a little loose, but on the good side of things, it turns over by hand. It's better than most of the vehicles I pick up. Usually I pick them up and they're C-solid and I have to work pretty hard to make them work. Make them crank. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Anyhow, we just need to get into here and decide what needs to be fixed. Find out if this thing's going to crank. Also, another thing I was informed of, this 383 right here, being as it's a 71, is just before they started putting smog junk on these things. Let's just get right into it and see what we can do. Got me a magnet tray, and let's go ahead and take this air cleaner here off and see what's there. That looks like an alternator bolt, and I'm not sure what that is. That could be an alternator bolt. I think that's the alternator spacers. Some sort of a body bolt. And a rogue nut. Fantastic. Let's see what's underneath it here. Ah, it's really pretty clean in there. This is dirtier than I'll get out. That filter really doesn't look that bad. Might be able to reuse that. Come on. Get out of there. There we go. I better get a vacuum and clean this up. Well, there you have it. It's mostly cleaned up. It's not perfect, but it will do. I've got a bunch of mess up here, and this is a 2-barrel. That little trail of goop. Looks like that regulator might have gone bad. Maybe I should go get one of those real quick. I think I'll grab me some PB Blaster and give it a couple of douses. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Well, let's see what this old carburetor does. It seems to be moving, although I can't move it all the way. Because of this deal, I can move it a pretty good chunk of the way. The choke opens perfectly. It's just a little dirty. I need to start figuring out what else I need to do. Something I just noticed now. This here negative looks really, really terrible. I'll go ahead and build a new one for that real fast, and we'll go from there. I took the liberties of replacing that with a slightly thicker gauge. Looks to be in pretty good shape. For the positive side, it doesn't look horrible, but it's one of those weird clamp styles. I'm assuming that that is not factory, but I could be mistaken. Not enough experience on these Mopars to really know. Now I need to put an alternator in there, and then put a battery on it and see if this thing starts smoking like Canada. Let's get this in there. See if I can figure out how to put it in there. Does this line up at all? I don't think it does. Unless it has a pulley going somewhere else. Not only is it fairly warm out today, I'm sitting here with the sun beating on my back in a black shirt. Fantastic. Don't know who planned this out, but obviously it was me. Okay. So we're getting closer here. I put this little spacer in there. There's an awful lot of spacer parts on these, I'll say. Never can be instantly easy. Not exactly the right way to use a hammer, but it gets the job done. So that's all that matters to me. Mopars sure do have some odd alternators. Keep knocking off bits and pieces of this overflow. Perfect. The belt's on. All right, let's hook up the wiring. Can't see it too well, but the wires are hooked up. Now let's replace that. Let's get the old voltage regulator off. Well, the plug doesn't look terrible. Could be better, could be worse, I'm sure. But I think it's been replaced. But clearly it's leaking more than the Exxon Valdez, so this is definitely not good. I guess that joke doesn't work so good. Maybe it's leaking more than a windmill.
I mean, you could have said leaking more oil than OPEC.
Well, they're not leaking oil. They're holding on to their oil. All right. That looks pretty good.
Does it say 1971 on it?
I think that's a part number.
Oh.
Not sure, but I think that's a part number. In with the new. Before I drop the little bolt. That's exactly what needs to happen. What in the world is going on here? How many little lock washers do you need on these, I wonder? Well, let's go ahead and put this on without so many daggum lock washers. See if that makes a difference. Surprisingly, a lot of this wiring looks pretty good. I expected more rat damage. There's really not as much as I expected. Hopefully, able to hitch this thing up and make it crank pretty easily. Dukes of Hazzard window is open. Hell yeah. Oh my God, the seat. I don't know if I really want to sit on this thing. But, that's in there pretty good. Oh, more PB Blaster it is. Fantastic. That moves.
Alright.
Go ahead. Come on. Ah, ha, ha. Now we don't have to Dukes of Hazzard it every single time I want to drive it. Before we get wild here, some more lubrication.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Some in the lube hole. And some in whatever that hole is. All right.
There's no more seats in this thing. No more seats in the back.
Well, it works just as good as the passenger door.
Mm-hmm.
This is better than I had this morning. Oh my goodness.
I wonder if it works.
Wow.
The tires are flat.
I bet you could go to Wichita and get some wire spoke rims for this and some rubber bands.
I almost guarantee it.
But the wheels are flat. You can't drive it.
Oh my dear Lord. How about those brakes?
Stiff on the brakes, huh?
Stiff. They're not moving. Let's put a battery in here and see what happens. Hopefully it doesn't fall through the battery tray. Well, that's probably good enough for government work, I guess. Oh boy, this is hot. This is really hot. Oh goodness. This is why you leave your wrenches in the sun, guys. Here goes nothing. Get that closer to be positive. Well, there was no sparks.
Something in the car came on.
So the key's on. Here goes nothing. Well, let's see what happens. No, maybe not.
Starter's dead?
I don't know. Doesn't look to be a damaged wire. Appears to be intact.
Maybe something under the dash.
Possibly. Oh, hey, there we are.
Huh, what is that?
I found a wire. Here I was complimenting the car on
Not broken wires.
how it was not so badly destroyed by the rats. So I went ahead and started to strip this, but it's pretty heavily corroded. And honestly, it seems like a little lighter gauge than what it should have. So I think I'll just build a new one and replace it. At that point, I might as well take the starter off. You can't see much of the starter from here because it's well camouflaged. It's covered with grease and dirt and rat poo. So I guess I'll take the starter off. How about that? Let's do that. Jack this whole thing up. Since it's clearly still in low riding mode, this ought to be interesting.
Yeah. You gotta get that under the cam member from the car. Yeah.
Well, that's not one to roll very well.
It's on tires that look like they roll really well.
Once upon a time.
About 1979.
Oh yeah, it's toast. This whole starter wire is destroyed. Like the power to the starter, it has definitely been hot. So they were definitely cranking on this pretty hard, I'd bet. Heated up all the insulation and it sat for a long time, so fantastic. I wonder why it got parked. More to follow.
You got wiring attached to somewhere.
Yeah, now.
They got oh wow. Jesus Christ.
Well, there's half the starter.
Maybe that thing wasn't gonna ever turn over again. There you go.
We're digging for dinosaurs.
He had to be like an archaeologist because everything's buried. Hey, it came out. Woohoo!
My granddad was at home. Matter of fact, he built a house that ran a private facility right there, that brick house years ago. But all this down here is commercial. From
All right, there you have it. We have removed the starter in multiple pieces. This thing, that's pretty big for a starter. This is pretty big for a starter half. There's the rest of the guts, the tail, and the bolts. And I have a theory that something was wrong on the starter because that power cable is just toast. It got hot. It's cracked up along the whole length of it. This is on the battery end of that wire, that cable there, and it's in pretty poor shape. So I'm going to bet you that the starter had some kind of an issue. We already know the voltage regulator had a bad day because it's broke in half and it was leaking all over the place. So, well, there you have the replacement starter versus what's left of the original. Now, this is a starter from, I looked it up at O'Reilly's, is a 96 Dodge Dakota with a 318. I am told that that is the correct starter. That being said, that pattern looks correct. And this is smaller, and I'm just going to say it worked because why not? I've rigged up the power and the solenoid power. I'm going to tape up these together a little bit, and we're going to go put it on. So let's do that. All right, let's test this. Whoa. Get some of the rat nest to blow out. That thing cranks great. Now I'm underneath again. We've got the starter on. It cranks great. The spark plugs are a little easier to reach from down here, as you can see. Actually, you have a lot more room on the passenger side. Plugs are all out, so I've got the new ones in, and now I need to make plug wires. Can't see it very well, but you can definitely hear it. Point system is in fact sparking, so put some more fuel in, see what happens. Give it some. Keep it coming. I made my wish. It'll start next time. Well, unfortunately, the motor never did start. It ended up seizing up on us. There was no oil pressure. So, here we are putting it in the shop. I'm going to go ahead and pull the motor. I'll show you what we found in the next video.